Part 3. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 22. P.S. Thank you everyone for your recommendation votes. Bang 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 bang. Bang bang bang. Bang bang. Snapped. The scene was very quiet for a while. The Salted Fish King jumped around for a while and noticed the weird atmosphere around him. Why were all these people looking at him? It was so embarrassing. I can't move, I don't dare to move, I don't dare to move. The staff member forgot his words for a moment, thought for a while, then mechanically turned around and asked someone to bring a fish tank and give him VIP treatment. Puff. I don't know who suddenly laughed, like a hole in a balloon, and all the laughter was released. The laughter was very magical for a time. Magikarp. Just look at Magikarp's slanted and confused eyes, it makes you happy, right? Yang Yu, you used the Pokeball given out at school during the coming-of-age ceremony, to catch a Carp King, Xiao Menjiao whispered. Yang Yu nodded. Although Carp King is easy to raise, it is very difficult to evolve. Although Xiao Menjiao and Yang Yu have a normal relationship in the class, as classmates, she still hopes that her classmates will have better elves. Yu, this classmate of yours. The girl who came with Xiao Menjiao wanted to laugh, but she didn't say anything in front of Yu and lightly covered her mouth. After studying in elf high school for so long, you should know that Carp King is not the elves that junior trainers can bring, have no fighting power and are very easy to feed, but they need to evolve. The implication is that she has doubts about what Xiao Menjiao said before about Yang Yu's good study. Even Rattata is better than Magikarp. At least Rattata can hit. What else can Magikarp do besides splash and jump? Yang Yu has a pretty good impression of Xiao Menjiao. Compared with Li Xiaolu, it is naturally the sky in front and the earth in the back. Okay, everyone, please be quiet for a moment. The staff member's twitching mouth corners and distorted face revealed her strong urge to laugh, but business was more important. Magikarp got his own VIP tank seat, wagged his tail, and looked at the female employee standing in front with the other elves. There was only one large water elf, a beautiful white sea lion with a body as smooth as gelatin and shiny white. It sat in front of a silver-haired old woman, its smart head and eyes curiously looking at the Carp King in the fish tank next to Yang Yu. The white sea lion's beard gently tapped the silver-haired grandmother. The old woman followed the white sea lion's gaze and saw the Carp King in the fish tank, and the corners of her mouth moved slightly. The trainer of the small water elf is following our breeder. Grandma, you come with me. On the way to the small water elf area, Xiao Menjiao's starfish, her companion Marilu, and Squirtle walking in the front. Except for Yang Yu's Salted Fish King, who was in the fish tank and being held by Yang Yu, the others the elf can walk step by step. The Salted Fish King showed no shame at all. Instead, he waggled his tail proudly in the fish tank and looked at the other water elves who could only walk on their own with a look of royal contempt. Round penguin. Look, look, seal balls, wow, they are so cute when they are fighting for food. Ah, these two little tiger teeth are so cute. That seal ball is so bad. He even steals other people's fish to eat, huh. Girls have no resistance at all to such cute elves, and each one has little stars in their eyes. They want to get directly into the glass and have a leopard of love with the seal balls. Yang Yu glanced at Starfish next to Xiao Menjiao. One of Starfish's small five-pointed hands pulled pitifully on Xiao Menjiao's trouser leg, as if he was coquettishly wanting to kiss or hug. Unfortunately, Xiao Menjiao's eyes had already opened. Attracted by the seal ball. Laugh at SKR people. That's what trainers are like. I only have eyes for the Salted Fish King, and no other elves can arouse my interest. Yang Yu groaned in his heart. Dia sea lion. Yang Yu's eyes suddenly stared into the glass without moving. Even if the Salted Fish King water splashed onto his hand, he ignored it. Two thick and huge sharp tusks reflect the cold light under the lights of the venue. The strong body is full of muscle beauty, and there is huge explosive power under the thick fat. In non-combat form, the soft hair on the head and bling bling sparkle glowing eyes with little stars. There is a different contrast in cuteness. Yang Yu will not look down on the DSC lion with its cute eyes. Once it gets angry, it will definitely be a scene in a world of ice and snow, or in an extremely cold field. If you shoot some movies that are shot in the ice and snow, you don't even need to add 50 cents for special effects. Just let it do it, the effect may be even better. There are DSC lions, which means there are. Yang Yu's heart trembled when he saw a man in uniform carrying 2 buckets of crucian carp walking slowly not far from the DSC lion. The DSC lion's eyes seemed to be staring at the food in the man's hand. At least a high-level trainer. The elven world has a detailed division of elves' strength. The hierarchy system stipulated by the Elf Alliance cannot explain the actual combat effectiveness of elves, but is only a standard that can relatively measure the strength of elves. It is precisely because of having a standard that human beings can have a deeper understanding of this elven world and respect this elven world, instead of stupidly running up to the big beast and saying things like "I want to duel with you." Every time an elf evolves, it is an evolution of the life level. The race value is the relative data that represents the evolution of the life level. The Elf Alliance comprehensively studied a large number of elves, spent countless manpower and material resources, and with the help of generations of powerful trainers, a set of reliable data integrated. Xiao Menjiao, Gao Ya, Gu Wenli, Yang Yu, you 4 volunteers, follow me to the number 2 shallow water area. By the way, let me introduce myself first. I am Zhao Kun, a breeder in the shallow water area and a junior breeder. Junior breeder. Like trainer, it is a special profession in the Elf Alliance. In addition to breeders, there are also elf coordinators. As the name suggests, breeders are more concerned with cultivating elves. Compared to trainers, trainers are more concerned with elves fighting, while elven coordinators are concerned with coordinating and studying the gorgeousness of moves. In the elf world, there are not only elf battles, but also mysterious elf cultivation and elf beauty contests. These are 3 different but interrelated paths. It seems that the 4 of us are in a group. I am Gu Wenli. When Gu Wenli saw Xiao Menjiao and Gao Ya, his eyes suddenly lit up. As for Yang Yu, he simply ignored them. On the consultant's shoulder, a shell elf opened its mouth. Big-tongued clam. Xiao Menjiao nodded. Elegance. The girl who was with Xiao Menjiao said the word coldly. Yang Yu. Yang Yu's eyes fell firmly on the big-tongued baby. This big-tongued baby was actually sticking out his tongue and saliva at him. Tisk. Boy, you are so naughty. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 23. P.S. Thank you everyone for your recommendation votes. Yang Yu and 4 others received a water gun. That's right, it's just a toy water gun, but with the spray paint of Hangchen Momo Ocean Park. Yang Yu looks very familiar. Isn't this the same style that those little brats at the park entrance are holding? What? They are exactly the same. Junior breeder Zhao Kun shook the water gun in his hand and said, today, in addition to basic feeding, bathing, and brushing the elves in the number 2 shallow water area, there is also training on the most basic move of the water elves, the water gun. In the elf world, the real power of all the elf's moves is not fixed like in the game. The elf's level, move proficiency, whether during battle, etc. will all affect the power of the moves. Even in the battle, with their super high proficiency in moves, some elves can even defeat their natural enemies and complete the counterattack. If you don't accumulate steps, you won't be able to reach 1,000 miles. If you don't accumulate small streams, you won't be able to form a river or a sea. If you want to become a truly powerful trainer and move towards the supreme palace of trainers, You need to lay a good foundation of elves from the beginning. If you want to succeed, there is no shortcut. The elves in shallow water area number 2 include crocodile, slowpoke, yubo, and water leap fish. The shallow water area has a small artificial beach and a shallow water area with a depth of about 1 meter. Zhao Kun introduced as he walked. They are all the initial forms of water elves. If the elves here complete their evolution, they will go to the number 2 deep water area. Come on, put on our special uniforms. Yang Yu put on a dark blue smooth uniform and felt like a water elf. Of course, what looked more like a water elf were the 2 girls beside him. Qiu Menjiao and Gao Ya still had the greenness of their high school days, and their smiles were very beautiful. It looked so good that Gu Wenli was dumbfounded. The elves really like pretty ladies. Zhao Kun, a junior breeder, smiled and nodded approvingly. Hearing Zhao Kun's words, Qiu Menjiao, Starfish, and Marilu beside Gao Ya quickly hugged their master's thighs, fearing that they would feel apart and be seduced away by other elves. The salted fish king opened his big eyes, and Gu Bo looked at his master calmly. He looked like a salted fish. Boji spit a bubble to calm down the shock. At this time, half of the little giant crocodiles were on the beach and half in the shallow water. The ones on the beach were playing with the sand, and the ones in the water were fighting for a ball. The splashes were particularly big. The slowpoke beasts had expressions of "Who am I? Where am I? Why do these 4 people look so strange? There are 2 beautiful ladies." The slowpokes immediately lined up one by one and patted the slowpoke awake on the beach. "Look, there's a beautiful young lady." Most of Wubo and Shuiyu hugged each other, watching the stupid little saw crocodiles fighting for a ball at the edge of the shallow water area. What fun is there in fighting for a ball? It looks so interesting. Suddenly I also thought about what to do. Why don't you go grab the ball? So happily decided. There was a lot of excitement in the shallow water area. You. Zhao Kun blew the whistle. The elves are familiar with this sound. Either it is time to eat, or it is still time to eat. Anyway, when this sound appears, there must be something to eat. Gather together, gather together. Wubo, Shuiyu, the small saw crocodile in the shallow water area and the small saw crocodile on the beach immediately rushed over at the fastest speed. The splashing waves in the shallow water area were very big, bigger than the salted fish king. The water splashes, more like the water splashes. Yang Yu frowned slightly, water droplets splashed on his chin and face. He looked down and saw that the salted fish king was unconvinced and wanted to show who was the real salted fish king by splashing with water, but the splash. Just a younger brother. It's really cute. Qiu Menjiao and Gao Ya looked at each other. In its initial form, the little crocodile had big bright eyes and little hands on the waist. No one could resist such cuteness. I'm very good, but I have to show off. The big-tongued shell on Gu Wenli's shoulder saw a dense group of crocodile elves rushing over, and he closed the shell nervously, leaving only a small gap exposed, trembling. It seems, something is missing. Yang Yu saw the slowpoke beasts that were still standing motionless and going their own way, then took another look at the salted fish king in his arms, and sighed silently. Salted fish king? I'm not a stupid beast, what do you think I'm going to do? Slowpoke's signature skewed eyes are on par with the salty fish king, not to mention the entire row of slowpoke with skewed eyes on the beach now. The style of painting is unique. Zhao Kun blew the whistle a few more times. Slowpoke glanced at the activities of the other elves and seemed to realize that they were about to gather. What to do with those who are still in ZZZ? Slowpoke looked at me and I looked at you. His brain was a little exhausted. Water gun training officially begins. Zhao Kun picked up the water gun in his hand and stirred it a few times with the inflatable cylinder to give the water in the water gun sufficient power. Since there are still slowpoke in ZZZ, let's let slowpoke serve as sparring partners first. They are all water elves, and the water elves are not very proficient in their moves. The water guns are basically just showy. It doesn't have much power and won't cause substantial damage to Slowpoke. Sizzle. Yang Yu and the others looked at the movements of junior breeder Zhao Kun, stirred the water gun in their hands, and used the artificial water gun to attack in the direction of Slowpoke. The little alligator, Wu Bo, and water-jumping fish in front of Yang Yu immediately understood what they were going to do now, attack with water guns. Sizzle. Yang Yu only felt a burst of cold water splashing towards his face. Yang Yu. Salted Fish King? Hey, are you going in the wrong direction? The water gun is not attacking me here, but over there, over there. Over there with Slowpoke. Ah, Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya screamed and immediately covered their faces. Chiu Menjiao's starfish and elegant Marilu immediately stood in front of each other's masters and used their moves, water gun. Yang Yu used his own personal experience to understand why he wore such clothes into shallow water. Damn, these elves' water guns, attack indiscriminately. Although the move has no power at all, you should say something in advance before attacking with the water gun. Who can react when it suddenly sprays in the direction of your face? Also, Salty Fish King, can you please stop watching the show? Other elves, look at it. Starfish and Marilu are both using water guns to fight back at their owners. Why are you still watching the show in the fish tank? The Salted Fish King blinked and glanced in the direction of Big Tongue Shell. A poor big-tongued clam was immediately knocked away by the impact of the water gun after being hit by it. Now, it is lying on its back on the artificial beach, directly embedded in it, and it cannot turn over even if it wants to. Hey, can anyone help me? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 24. P.S. Thank you everyone for recommending votes. Gu Wenli felt that something was missing on his shoulder. Sure enough, when he turned around, he was stunned. Where is my big tongue? When he lowered his head, he found that the big-tongued shellfish had been shot into the beach, and couldn't move. He glanced at the two girls, Starfish and Marilu, and then at his big tongue. Why are you so unsatisfied? But it's okay, there is also a weaker Magi carp. Gu Wenli glanced in the direction of the fish tank with a groan, and his eyebrows suddenly stood up. This Carp King. Two big salty fish eyes stared at Big Tongue Shell motionlessly, feeling like looking at a younger brother. Gu Wen is so angry that he can't fight it out. As the Carp King, he still has the nerve to look at other elves? Also, Big Tongue baby, how can you be beaten by a water gun and unable to take care of yourself? I'm afraid it's a fake water elf. The big-tongued clam closed its mouth. It didn't expect that it opened its mouth to smile at the carp in the fish tank, but it didn't know that a handful of water guns shot directly at it. Who can withstand this? Hua hua hua. Kalu kalu kalu. The Salted Fish King withdrew his gaze and was a little envious when he saw that all the elves in front of him could spray out slender water guns. It is very curious about how these elves do it, it feels so amazing. It's just that it can't figure out why the thing in the owner's hand can also spray a water gun, and it has to be stirred before use. It feels so advanced. Of course, the water gun in Yang Yu's hand did not produce as much water as the elf's water gun move, nor was it durable, let alone incomparable. However, after using it for a short time, the water gun in his hand ran out of water. The goal of elves' move training, whether it is a trainer, a breeder, or a coordinator, is to increase the elves' proficiency in the moves. The small water gun is the basis of many water-based moves, even if the elves learn more advanced moves in the future. High-pressure water gun or salt water, the basics, can determine the upper limit of the elf. The little guys showed off a lot. The slow beasts on the opposite side, especially the slowpoke lying lazily on the beach, opened their hazy sleepy eyes in confusion, and looked left and right with innocent faces. What did I do wrong? I was just zzz. Why did you hit me with a water gun? Woo-hoo-hoo me. Slowpoke blinked his eyes and saw those water elves who were not sleeping well and playing with water guns. He hated iron but not steel. It was such a nice day, soft beach, and a little warm weather. It was impossible not to sleep. Waste of time is a waste of life. Slowpoke moved its pink body and found a place where it would not be sprayed by the water gun, and continued on, sleeping well and not playing with these elves. Regarding the lazy appearance of the slowpoke, junior breeder Zhao Kun obviously has sufficient experience. At this time, the fresh tender fish and dried small fish he prepared are useful. Here, each of you has a slowpoke rod, so you can go fishing for slowpoke. Zhao Kun smiled and raised the special fishing rod in his hand. Even the name changed, from a fishing rod to a slowpoke rod. This, how to fish, Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya asked curiously. Slowpoke is also a cute elf, especially those eyes, which are full of joy as soon as they see it. Fishing for slowpoke, it feels very interesting. I know, you should just use the thread above to tie the fish or small dried fish, Gu Wenli spoke first. Yes, look at my movements. I will teach you how to tie live fish first. If the small fish is dry, it is very convenient to tie because it is dry. Zhao Kun fished out a fish from the prepared bucket. Yang Yu and the others opened their eyes wide and watched meticulously how Zhao Kun tied the live fish with the line on the stupid pole. This is a cross-shaped tying method. Let me teach you first. If it is a small dried fish, it can be tied in any way. After Zhao Kun tied the fish to the stupid pole, he lifted it, and the fish would not falling down. Some slowpoke like to eat small dried fish, and some slowpoke like to eat fresh ones. You will know when you give it a try, Zhao Kun said with a smile. Working here is a very interesting and meaningful thing. Staying with these cute elves, at least the soul will be purified, because elves can feel the inner world of people very sensitively. Wow, these little crocodiles want to eat fish too. Gao Ya noticed that the eyes of the little giant crocodiles were staring motionlessly at the fish on the fishing rod in Zhao Kun's hand. Whichever way the fishing rod floated, their eyes also followed. Whichever way you look, the movements are very neat. Simply adorable. We can't feed them this morning. They need to take vitamin supplements. I'm going to get some seaweed. You can go fishing for slowpoke. Zhao Kun shook his head. There was a small saw crocodile trying to jump into his arms. Wagging his tail, pretending to be pitiful and wanting to eat fish, but Zhao Kun decisively rejected it. Why are you such a bastard? The little saw crocodile curled up in a ball in grievance, crying and hugging its poor self. It was weak, helpless, and really wanted to eat fish. Even though he shrank into a ball, his eyes were still staring at the lively fish on the fishing rod. Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya felt their hearts melting. Probably seeing the expressions of the two girls, Zhao Kun spread his hands helplessly and explained, the cultivation of elves requires attention to diet. Some elves are particularly picky eaters. As a breeder, we cannot spoil them, especially since they are still here. The initial form has not evolved yet and needs a reasonable diet. We all understand the truth, but we still can't bear it. It's probably like you girls are thinking about losing weight and drinking milk tea at the same time, Yang Yu said casually. You. Yang Yu received 2 pairs of angry eyes. Gu Wenli almost laughed out loud. This brother is not good at elfing, let alone talking. How can he talk like this in front of girls? Yang Yu spread his hands. What he said is the truth, the conscience of heaven and earth, the big truth. No matter what, let's try how to catch slowpoke with the slowpoke first. Ah, Chiu Menjiao screamed. Her elf starfish immediately ran over and stayed by her side. When she reached out to catch the fish, the fish suddenly slipped away from her hand and made a big splash, hitting her hair several times in a row. You, are you okay? Gao Ya asked with concern, and Marilu also came up. It's okay, it's okay. Wow, even this live fish is too difficult to catch. It's too slippery. It slipped out of my hand. Chiu Menjia wiped the water droplets from her hair and couldn't help but said. How about I do it? Gu Wenli stepped forward and grabbed a fish. However, the fish in his hand struggled desperately and he couldn't hold it firmly. The fish broke free and fell on the beach, jumping into the water. A group of small saw crocodiles. Little crocodile, look at me, I look at you, immediately stared at that fish, swallowed. Rush the duck. The carp king on the side looked at the small giant crocodile flying past in front of him in bewilderment. This scene was really scary to the fish. Let me do it. Yang Yu shook his head. These two girls, as well as Gu Wenli, could tell at a glance that they had never caught a fish before. This fish must be caught like this. Oops. I only saw Yang Yu take it out. No matter how the fish in the bucket moved, it could not escape his grip of Hades. Yang Yu, why are you so skilled? Chiu Menjia was stunned. Only those who have experienced the difficulty of catching fish can understand how powerful Yang Yu's move is. Gao Ya looked strange and glanced in a certain direction unconvincingly. In the fish tank, the salted fish king had gone from being confused to sweating profusely, and starting to tremble. This one scares the fish even more. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 25. Yang Yu easily handled the silly bait on the silly pole. He usually trains to catch the carp king from time to time at home, but he didn't expect to be able to use it now. He can catch one accurately every time. You think it's strange or not? At this time, more and more tourists with children came into the Momo Ocean Park in Hangzhou. There were shallow water areas number 1, shallow water area number 2, deep water areas number 1 and deep water area number 2, round penguin pavilion, small sea lion pavilion, etc. and other areas are surrounded by many tourists. In the shallow water area number 2 where Yang Yu was, the tourists could just see the 4 of them walking towards the slowpoke with the slowpoke rod. Mom, what is that? Ah, the one swimming in the water is the crocodile. Did you see it? The pink one with the little tail sleeping is slowpoke. Mom, why is slowpoke called slowpoke? Because it is very lazy. When it is lazy, it will become a slowpoke. You can see that they are still sleeping in the morning, so it is called a slowpoke. Ah. Then I won't be lazy in the future. No is not stupid at all. Don't become stupid. Of course, Yang Yu and others couldn't hear the conversation between a mother and her daughter. They were using a slowpoke to get close to the slowpoke that was sitting on the beach. Whoosh! Yang Yu stretched out the slowpoke in his hand and shook it in front of the nose of a sleeping slowpoke. Yeah. Slowpoke's little nose moved miraculously, and even opened its mouth in its sleep. He is really a complete foodie. Slowpoke is probably the most carefree of all the elves. He has no worries and lives a good life every day. In addition to eating, he just sleeps. What's more, he evolves after eating well and sleeping well. Just play games and fall in love with other students in the class every day, but when they take the exam, they get better grades than you. This is very distressing. How could Yang Yu let Slowpoke eat fish so easily? Yang Yu withdrew the dumb stick. Slowpoke was having a sweet dream. It dreamed that fish would fall from the sky to eat. It was preparing to use the most beautiful posture, lying on its stomach and opening its mouth to catch the fish that fell from the sky. Ouch! Where's the fish? The slowpoke in the dream glanced blankly at the sky. Can the fish falling from the sky actually fly? Could it be that this is the legendary flying fish? Slowpoke's eyes flashed with a rare light. It was going to eat this fish. The flying fish flew in front of it again. The slowpoke in the dream pretends to be sleeping, preparing when the flying fish's vigilance is at its lowest. Close, close. Ouch. Yang Yu was shocked. The sleeping slowpoke could actually fly on its own? Like a fake corpse. Could this be a legendary move? Daydream. Sleep talking is a very magical move in the elf world. It can make the sleeping elf randomly use the skills it knows. Moves that can reach the sky. Wing attack, earth throw, flying technique, brave bird attack. But these skills must have wings. Slowpoke has no wings. So the question is, how did a slowpoke with short legs, slow speed and laziness get into the sky? When the flying slowpoke discovered that the flying fish had actually flown away again, it blinked and suddenly discovered a very serious problem. What should I do? Yeah. Yang Yu watched in stunned silence as the slow-moving beast struggled crazily on all fours in the air before it jumped less than 30 centimeters, and then, fell freely. What is this operation? Yang Yu was shocked. Slowpoke fell to the ground and struggled for a while, then opened his eyes. When he got up, he found that he was fine. He rubbed his eyes with his two small hands and looked around blankly. No talk in sleep, no wings, just instinct. Mom, what are the uncles and aunts down there doing? They are feeding. Look, Slowpoke is eating fish now. Seeing Slowpoke waking up, Yang Yu waved the Slowpoke in front of Slowpoke. Slowpoke stared at it closely for a long time. It had already suffered a loss once, could it suffer again? I won't eat flying fish anymore, hum. Hwa. The saliva in Slowpoke's mouth flowed to the corner of his mouth involuntarily. So this is how you fish for Slowpoke. Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya were very happy. They held fishing rods in their hands, and there were several Slowpoke following them. Where did the fish on the fishing rod go? Wherever the beast goes. When the fun was almost over, Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya rewarded the fish on the fishing rods to the Slowpoke beasts. Damn it, are these Slowpoke beasts so picky about their food? Gu Wenli was so irritated. Yang Yu helped the two girls tie the fish and did not help him. Even if he wanted to help, he would refuse. In the end, he could only use small dried fish to catch Slowpoke. But, damn, these sluggish beasts don't even look at the little fish, they only look at the lively and jumping fish, which is very uncomfortable. Zhao Kun came back with a bucket of seaweed. He was in a good mood when he saw the intimate activities between the 4 volunteers and the Slowpoke. To establish a friendship with the elves, you need to be so hands-on. But what's going on with these little crocodiles? Zhao Kun was a little confused when he saw something rushing after something in the pool. When he saw the fish in the mouth of the last little crocodile, he understood. It must have accidentally fallen into the water while tying the fish on the dumb pole. Nothing serious. The number 2 shallow water area is now open to the public. If there are tourists who want to come in and take photos with the elves or feed them, please queue up in order. Zhao Kun prepared free seaweed in his hand. In addition to feeding the little saw crocodiles, you can also some interactions. The tourists are coming. This is a bit nervous for Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya. Although they are volunteers, they are still students who have just graduated from high school and have not yet officially entered the society. This is a short work experience. Yang Yu is different from them. He has looked for many jobs in the elf world, and of course he has hit a wall. In addition, his soul comes from another world. There is nothing to be embarrassed about, as long as he has a thick skin, not to mention, this face is at least not bad. Yang Yu returned to the Salted Fish King, holding a few pieces of seaweed that he had begged from Zhao Kun, and dangled them in the Salted Fish King's eyes. Anyway, I haven't forgotten you. There are elves, starfish, and Mary Lou. I want to take a photo, come on, come on. Yeah. The tourist passage open to the number 2 shallow water area is already full of tourists. Yang Yu is taking care of the salted fish king and feeding fish to Slowpoke. The job is still very simple. Kalu Kalu. Do you want to go to the pool? Yang Yu saw Haixing Xing and Marilu already playing happily in the pool. Looking into the eyes of the salted fish king, the salted fish king was also a little eager. How could a small fish tank trap the carp king? Go, salted fish king. Pokemon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 26. P.S. Thank you all for your recommendation votes, please collect and recommend. There is a red figure in the shallow water pool. The relationship between elves is simpler than that between people, because Chiu Menjiao and Gao Yai have a good relationship, and Starfish and Marilu have a good relationship. They know each other, and for the newly added Carp King and Tongue Shell will not appear exclusive. By the way, where's the big-tongued clam? Starfish and Marilu put their heads under the water and saw the giant tongue clam, crawling on the bottom of the water. Doesn't this guy know how to swim? In the huge pool, Weobo and the water leap fishes came back. While the little crocodile was not around, they went to grab the ball and play with it first. In an environment with sufficient water, the water guns used by the elves in water battles will be more powerful and more durable. Suddenly, Starfish, Marilu and Salted Fish King felt a cold attack on the side. It was a water-jumping fish that used a water gun when fighting for the ball. Hey, Starfish blocked the water gun with his yellow back. Lulu, Marilu was very angry, and the water gun hit her round back until it was flattened. The Salted Fish King on the side quickly swam behind Marilu and Starfish, and the water gun had no impact on it at all. Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya didn't notice this detail, but Yang Yu and Gu Wenli both noticed the Salted Fish King's actions. Yang Yu's mouth twisted. He didn't expect when the Salted Fish King would do this, but after Gu, from a cultural perspective, this is a symbol of cowardice. Why are there such elves? If he had a big tongue, he would be the first to rush forward to protect Starfish and Mary from harm. Gu Wenli discovered a problem. Where was his big tongue? He seemed to have thought of something. Wherever there are shell elves, they float on the water, while low-level clams crawl under the water. Zizi. Starfish and Marilu immediately fought back. Relying on the continuous pool water environment, the power of the water gun became stronger. The Salted Fish King next to Starfish and Marilu looked at the water guns they used with envy. He also wanted to try this move, and watched the elves not far away playing with the balls. It wants to play too. Water gun, water gun, water gun. The Salted Fish King took a sip of water and wanted to spray out a water gun like a starfish. As a result, as soon as he inhaled, the water was swallowed into his stomach, and nothing else happened. The Salted Fish King blinked. I vomited, but the water gun didn't spray out, but a few bubbles came out. If you are not convinced, come again. This time, the Salted Fish King has experience and promises not to swallow the water. The Salty Fish King's eyes shine brightly, and the Salty Fish King's water gun attacks. Puff. Starfish, who was using the water gun in front of the Salted Fish King, looked back at the Salted Fish King. What was he doing? It felt like there was some water behind him. The Salted Fish King was silent, his slanted eyes filled with confusion. It just sprayed the starfish with water. It wasn't a water gun, but it sprayed out the water it just held in its mouth. It just happened to spray on the back of the starfish that was blocking the water gun. Yang Yu looked at the actions of the Salted Fish King and felt like he was about to spray. They blocked the water gun for you, but you still sprayed them. The pig teammates were talking about you, OMG Salted Fish King. Since this spray had little power, Starfish thought it was just the water splashed by the Salted Fish King, so he didn't pay much attention to it and continued to turn around and use the water gun to feed the nasty water leap fish. The Salted Fish King was stunned. Why was his water gun different from other people's water guns? Is there something wrong with the way I used it? The water gun fight in the shallow water pool was very enjoyable for the children among the tourists. Quick, quick, grab the ball. That's it, Wubo. Little Wubo can actually jump over the water and jump over the fish. They are both initial water elves now. There is no big difference between these two elves in some racial values. It's amazing. There are actually starfish and Marilu here, but why is there no signs of these two elves in this shallow water area no 2? There are a total of 4 kinds of elves in shallow water area number 2, including crocodile, slowpoke, ubbo, and hydra. It is written on the signboard in the venue, but there is no information about starfish, Marilu, and Magi-Carp. As for starfish, it should be at another venue. It should be the elves of the uncles and aunts below. Since the salted fish king is relatively small, and there are starfish and Marilu in front of it, few people will find it. Even if they find it, they will just say, oh, it turns out there is another king carp. Almost since childhood, children have been exposed to elves in elf kindergarten. Of course, they are only elves in picture textbooks. Occasionally, the school will have a Geely egg nurse from the elf center to check the children's nails to see if they have any problems. Will it be too long? Are the fingers dirty? From that time on, children have become curious about the elf world. Among all kinds of elves, they also know that elves like Magi-Carp are very, very weak. Even if they evolve to be particularly powerful, before evolving, a weak Magi-Carp cannot be taken seriously. After so many years in the elf world, the cultivation of Magi-Carp has always been a mystery. At least, unless the trainer is extremely rich and uses money to pile up the evolution of Magi-Carp, or a very common trainer will choose Magi-Carp as the initial one. Elf. Before Magi-Carp evolved, he was just Magi-Carp, a salted fish. In the shallow water area, Yang Yu's salted fish king opened its mouth. It was a little unhappy. Why can other elves spray such thick and long water guns? It doesn't work. What it sprays out is just one mouthful, and it also needs a mouthful of water first. Call. A large number of bubbles began to appear on the water in front of the salted fish king. The salted fish king is gathering energy. 4 volunteers come with me to maintain order here. There are a lot of tourists on Zhao Kun's side, and he needs help from Yang Yu and the others. Most of the people who use seaweed to feed the sawtooth crocodiles are children, and some of them are pretty well behaved. They haven't behaved like naughty children yet, but there's no telling when they will. This is also the reason for Zhao Kun's daily headaches. Volunteers are needed. Help. There is no danger in feeding the alligator, but I am worried that some naughty children will hit the alligator when feeding it, causing the alligator's teeth to bite the naughty child. In the end, Momo Ocean Park will have to bear the responsibility. In this way it's not like this has never happened before. After hearing their duties, the 4 Yangyes rushed over immediately. It's just that Yang Yu seems to have overlooked something. In the pond, the salted fish king has been completely brewed. This time, it will succeed. Go ahead, squirt gun. Buzz buzz buzz. What's happening here? Starfish and Marilu in the water immediately stopped their water guns, and even Wubo and Shuiyu, who were having fun, stopped fighting for the ball. The big-tongued clams at the bottom of the water were even more panicked. Because sound travels faster in water than in air. Salted fish, noise. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 27. It seems like there's trouble. The salted fish king retracted its head under the water, but right in front of its eyes, Marilu and Starfish had already turned their attention back. It was a situation where the anger level was about to reach maximum. CLU. In addition to Marilu and Starfish, There were also Wu Bo and Shui Yu on the other side, each holding their heads and looking at it with the same raised eyes. There is murderous intent. Well, do you believe it when I say this is a misunderstanding? I just want to use the water gun. I didn't mean to use noise, really. The salted fish king swung his tail abruptly, almost like a swish, like a sharp sword flashing past in the water, and even Starfish and Marilu didn't react. What to do? Played it? Almost at the same time, Starfish and Marilu immediately stepped into the water and chased. Salted Fish King, don't run. How can you make such an ugly sound? Seeing the actions of Starfish and Marilu, Wubo and Shuiyu were also unwilling to be outdone and abandoned the ball. Who, stop for us? A police robber battle began in the shallow water area. The protagonist of this battle, the Salted Fish King, ran at the front. His red body was extremely conspicuous, and he did not hide it at all. He looked like it was just labor. In the rear, Starfish and Marilu are senior agents, and Yubo and Water Leap Fish, who are also in the rear, are the chasing police in various blockbusters. Although Salty Fish King's other attributes have pitifully low racial values, there is only one thing, and that is speed. The speed racial value of 80 points is very fast among elves, especially among elves who are still in the initial state. Tell a joke, if it were in a game. The Salted Fish King uses the move Water Splash before Kuai Long. The racial values in the elf world do not represent everything, but at least. The Salted Fish King is now flying in the water. How can it be so fast? The Salted Fish King was shocked to find that just a few inches behind it, Starfish had already caught up with him. Not good. The Salted Fish King really wanted to cry. He really just wanted to try whether he could use the water gun, but he didn't know why he used the water gun to make noise. Can you stop chasing me? The Salted Fish King flicked his tail in the water and drew a long arc on the water, avoiding the straight line pursuit of Starfish. Yang Yu was shocked, drifting. Marvelous. Wow, the Magi Carp running at the front is so powerful, Starfish can't catch up with it now. What happened? Why is my Starfish chasing King Carp? Yang Yu, what did your King Carp do to my Starfish? Chiu Menjiu didn't notice it at first, until there were exclamations around her. When I was there, I saw a chase battle going on in the shallow water area of the pool. My Marilu is here too. Are they playing a cat and mouse game? Gao Ya was a little confused. The sound on the tourist side was louder and she couldn't hear what was going on in the shallow water area. She was standing here watching. It's like playing a game. Ah, water gun, the water jumping fish is attacking with water gun. The one at the front is Magi Carp, run, there's a water gun behind you. Come on, water leaping fish, you must hit the Carp King. Dad, I want to see. The tourists who were watching in the number 2 shallow water area temporarily stopped taking photos with the small saw crocodile and gathered around to watch the water gun fight show. Especially the children, it was their first time to see such a battle between elves. Although it was just a water gun battle, they felt very much watching it, as if they were playing with water guns themselves. This, Brother Kun, should we stop the elves? Gu Wenli asked quickly. There was no panic on Zhao Kun's face. Instead, he was smiling and shook his head at Gu Wenli. No, of course not. Look around you, look at the expressions of the tourists, especially the children. Zhao Kun reminded with a smile. As a junior breeder, it is true that he takes care of the elves, but now he is working for the Momo Ocean Park in Hangzhou. It is also part of the job to bring more fun to tourists while ensuring that the elves are not injured. The water guns of Wubo and Shui Yu are still difficult to hit when attacking moving targets. In addition, these elves have not yet undergone systematic combat training. Zhao Kun is not only relieved now, he even wants to add chicken drumsticks to Magi Carp, Starfish and Marilu below. More and more tourists came around, and most of them were children running over first, followed by adults, or children holding their parents' hands and running together. The screams of the children in the number 2 shallow water area were heard one after another. It was precisely because of their screams that they attracted more other children visiting the aquarium. The children came curiously and inevitably brought their parents with them. The current number 2 shallow water area has attracted a large number of tourists from the nearby number 1 shallow water area and some deep water areas, leaving the breeders working there and the assigned volunteers confused. Where are people? Why did it disappear all of a sudden? What happened in shallow water area number 2? King Magi Carp, run, starfish is going to catch up with you. Be careful to avoid the water gun. Starfish, catch that carp king quickly, come on. No, King Carp is just, starfish is the bad guy. King Magi Carp is the bad guy and starfish is just. The bad guy King Carp will definitely be caught by the righteous starfish. The children who were watching even divided into camps. One side cheered for Magi Carp, and the other side cheered for starfish. They were incompatible with each other, and they had an aura of alliance dogs versus tribe pigs. Yang Yu seems to know something. Could it be that Magi Carp himself used the noise to commit suicide? Yes, Yang Yu looked very strange. The noise caused by the tourists here was quite loud, which may have covered up the noise. Just why does Brother Kun look like he is even shouting and cheering, and saying don't stop, continue, don't stop a few times? The salted fish king made another handsome tail flick, drawing a graceful arc in the water, causing the onlookers to scream. This arc on the water was so handsome. King Magi Carp, watch out for the water gun, a child screamed. The salted fish king seemed to have heard the cries of the people around him, and saw the oncoming water gun attacks from Shuiyu and Wu Bo almost instantly. He swung his fish tail again, changed his trajectory, and perfectly avoided it. Pay attention to the starfish behind, the starfish. Starfish, who had been thrown away once before, has realized that Salted Fish King is not an ordinary salted fish. He can actually overtake in corners, drift, and even, corner with inertia. AE86 is that you, Fujiwara's salted fish tofu? The water guns from Starfish behind him and the water guns from Yubo and Water Leap Fish in front were fired almost simultaneously, attacking in the direction of Magi Carp. At this moment, King Magi Carp dived directly into the bottom of the water and dived to the bottom of the shallow water area. As long as I swim fast enough, your water gun can't hit me. At the bottom of the shallow water area, a large tongued clam with its shell closed and shivering looked at the Magi Carp swimming past it with a confused look on its face, as if it was running for its life. Suddenly, Big Tongue Shell saw a large group of elves rushing towards it, including the move water gun. Don't hit me, I'm innocent. The giant tongue clam shrank its shell again. However, when one of the water-leaping fish touched the bottom, he kicked it away. Oh no! The giant-tongued clam made a dolphin-like jump from the bottom of the water. Yang Yu looked at the direction in which the salted fish king was escaping, and there was a strange shell-like thing rising and falling on the water. Damn it, this is the legendary, Qinggong water floating? Who am I, where am I, the magic of love goes round and round. The giant clam spins and jumps on the water with its eyes closed. I am innocent. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Shao. Chapter 29. Shallow Water Area Number 2, Why are there so many people around? Xiaozhou, send someone immediately to see what happened in Shallow Water Area Number 2. I'll adjust the surveillance here. Okay, boss. The security department of Hangchen Momo Ocean Park saw abnormal phenomena here through surveillance. The security chief Pan Kai was worried that something had happened in the shallow water area number 2. I hope the elf doesn't hurt the tourists. Pan Kai thought. It's strange. Pan Kai frowned and stared at the surveillance camera that turned over frame by frame. In the 10 minutes from about 10:23 to 10:33, there was no small fish in the shallow water area number 2. The situation of elven riots. Generally speaking, in an aquarium, if an elf is maliciously harmed by a tourist, the entire group will fight against it and will never stand by indifferently. The elves are a collective. However, this is not happening now. Everyone, give way, please give way. Xiaozhou led 4 security guards and rushed to the number 2 shallow water area. However, the enthusiastic tourists still surrounded the number 2 shallow water area and the water was blocked. Mycarp. Magikarp. Ah, Magikarp is so powerful. What confused Xiaozhou and other security guards was that in the shallow water area number 2, when did a batch of Magikarp be introduced? How come they didn't know about it? What happened here? Were any tourists injured? When Xiaozhou asked this question, he suddenly began to regret it. What kind of look do you have? I saw the tourists around me caring for the mentally retarded, looking over at them deeply, which made Xiaozhou and the 4 security guards around him feel numb. How do you feel? We are the little elves being watched. Nothing happened. There is just a Magikarp in the shallow water. He is so handsome. I have never seen such an arrogant Magikarp, a young tourist explained immediately when he saw Xiaozhou and the others wearing security uniforms. Well, could you please stop looking so picky when you are talking? You are also very arrogant. Xiaozhou swallowed these words and did not say them. Can you make room for us so we can take a look at the scene? Xiaozhou was still very confused. How could there be a carp king in the shallow water area number 2? Ah! Look, King Carp's speed has become faster again. Starfish can't even catch up in a straight line, the crowd at the front screamed again. Why are there still starfish? Anyway, let's squeeze in first. I am also a melon-eating person who doesn't know the truth. Can you give us a seat so that we can also enjoy the melon? Holy shit! Why is this carp king so fast? It didn't matter if Xiaozhou didn't look at it. He was shocked when he saw the waves King Carp made in the water. Was he riding on the waves? From Yang Yu's perspective, Magikarp's electric motor tail was buzzing. If it was slapped on someone's face, it would be more effective than a chain slap. The white waves and splashes that created it gave Magikarp quite a feeling. The immortal Windeo bone, the operation of moving forward on the waves. So naughty. The salted fish king is now in a panic. It found a serious problem. It can't stop the car. Driving at high speed, under the influence of huge centrifugal force, when the salted fish king was about to turn and slow down, he was shocked to find that, the thing he saw in front of him, looked a bit familiar. Big Tongue felt like he was about to vomit. He caught a bus that was not going to the kindergarten. Just when he felt a little better and opened his eyes, Wuko, these 2 skewed eyes, looked familiar. The movement trajectories of Salted Fish King and Big Tongue Shell are parallel. The Salted Fish King has also ascended to heaven. Simply cannot stop. At this moment, a pink figure appeared on the edge of the water. It's it, our friend, Slowpoke. Slowpoke's King Capture Technique. Slowpoke jumped up, opened its short arms, and its slanted eyes were a little less slanted. It looked very serious, and let go of its embrace. There was even saliva at the corner of its mouth. Flying fish. It's a flying fish. Salted Fish King? It was the Slowpoke that Yang Yu had caught before, catching flying fish in his dream. Big Tongue Shell? Slowpoke, why did you pick it up instead of picking me up? Why are you such a bastard? Slowpoke, Rain Girl Wugwa. Slowpoke perfectly caught Magikarp in the air. Thunderous applause and cheers erupted from shallow water number 2. Oh, long live Slowpoke. It's so amazing, so exciting, the elves can actually cooperate so well. Mom, I want a Magikarp too. I want it too, Carp King is so powerful. Is there such an operation? Xiao Zhou was shocked. When did such an awesome elf perform live improvisation in the venue? How could he not know? Could it be that he has been sleepwalking these days? What happened in shallow water area number 2? Why haven't Xiao Zhou and the others come back to report? Pan Kai, the security chief who was wondering in the monitoring room, suddenly heard a strong sound outside, and vaguely wonderful, and the word awesome was used to immediately call up the surveillance camera. Damn it, these few people in the surveillance camera were wearing security uniforms and mingling among the crowd, cheering and applauding, not doing their job properly. Pan Kai clutched his chest, feeling short of breath. Labor and management are here waiting for you to come back and report. What the hell is the result? Is this how you report it? Pan Kai looked at these bastards on the surveillance camera. Why did I ask Xiao Zhou to go in the first place, and why did I stay to watch the surveillance? The security chief burst into tears. Yang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Slowpoke caught Magi Carp, otherwise it would have been like that big-tongued shellfish, doing a difficult landing on the beach with its whole body rolling 5.5 times. Gu Wenli had already gone to check on the condition of his elf's clam. The condition was good. The clam had a hard shell, but his eyes were spinning in circles. Slowpoke picked up Magi Carp and subconsciously licked it. Magi Carp? Quick, take your dirty hands away. Don't suffer from labor. This tastes wrong. Slowpoke smashed its mouth and lowered its head. When the confused and squinting eyes of Slowpoke and Magikarp's 2 pairs of symbols faced each other. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Slowpoke, oh. Magi Carp, oh. Who am I, where am I, what am I doing? Salted Fish King, what the hell did you just do? Slowpoke, why are you in my hands? Salted Fish King, how the hell do I know why I'm in your hands? Didn't you pick me up? Slowpoke, I remember I picked up the fragrant flying fish, not Magi Carp. Magi Carp. Slowpoke. Slowman took back a hand in confusion and scratched his forehead. Why did flying fish become Magi Carp? Magi Carp. Can't you put me down first and then scratch your head? On the beach. A Slowpoke is scratching its head. A Salted Fish King is jumping around. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 30. Is the show over yet? What a pity, I really want to watch it again. It turns out that the elf show in Ocean Park is so good. I will definitely write the Chinese composition and English composition for my summer vacation homework when I go back. A little boy of about 7 or 8 years old had bright eyes and danced happily. Great, I want to write too, I want to write too, a little girl next to me echoed. Mom, I have something to write too, another little boy jumped out. The first little boy's eyes were dull for a while, and then he said angrily, You are not allowed to copy my ideas. Chi. Slightly, I will write, and I will write better than you, slightly. A naughty little boy put his hands to his ears and moved around, and his tongue stuck out in his mouth. Go. The parents of the tourists in shallow water area number 2 quickly pulled their children away, fearing that the children would mingle together. The elves are almost a little tired. Weibo and Shuiyu have never seen a Carp King that can run so well. He can't even shoot it with a water gun. Today, they have learned a lot. Similarly, Chiu Menjiao and Gao Ya also find it incredible. Especially Chiu Menjiao. You know, when Chiu Menjiao chose her first elf, she considered many factors. In the end, she chose Starfish. Speed was a big consideration, but, Starfish actually, was faster. Not as good as Magi Carp. This Carp King runs so fast. Is he born in the year of the rat and timid? Zhao Kun, the boss is looking for you, in the staff passage, A cultivator wearing the same uniform as Zhao Kun waved, with a mixture of helplessness and envy on his face. The name card pinned to his chest has the words Cai Zhenkong on it. Ho, Zhenkong, a good thing, Zhao Kun grinned and raised his eyebrows. Isn't this nonsense? You have attracted a large number of tourists from my side. Isn't that a good thing? Cai Zhenkong saw Zhao Kun's expression of taking advantage of him and being obedient. He really wanted to slap him. Why? Why don't I have such a good thing? Wait a minute, I'll talk to the volunteers and ask them to maintain order in the venue first. I'll be there right away. Zhao Kun smiled and patted Cai Zhenkong's arm, stepping on inappropriate steps, making a group of people look coquettish. Okay, go back quickly, the boss is waiting. Cai Zhenkong nodded, his tone still had a sour taste. A different Magi Carp, and a slightly different trainer. In the office of the curator of Hangzhou Momo Ocean Park, a smartly dressed middle-aged man scrolled the mouse and carefully watched the video uploaded below. On the ring finger of his right hand, there is a strange ring. The ring looks like a small raised elf ball. This is the ring elf ball developed by the Elf Alliance through space technology. The user is either rich or noble. This is an advanced trainer. Boss, Zhao Kun knocked on the curator's door. Oh, Zhao Kun. I'm watching the elf performance in your venue. Lin Hai, the curator, stood up with a satisfied smile on his face. A very good performance, the water gun training of Wu Bo and the water jumping fish, very effective. However, I am quite interested in that Magi Carp and its trainer. If you have time, ask him if he is a long-term volunteer or a short-term volunteer. I will return it later. If I want to meet an elder, I have to go over there first. Originally, I wanted to go over and see the trainer in person. Okay, boss, no problem, Zhao Kun replied immediately. From the corner of his eye, he saw the ring elf ball on the curator's ring finger, and a trace of envy flashed in his eyes. Curator Lin Hai was about to speak when he suddenly thought of something. He smiled and touched his pocket, and a delicate box appeared in his hand. How many volunteers do you have at your venue? 4 volunteers. Exactly 10 standard energy cubes. You did a good job in the shallow water area number 2. Here Lin Hai handed the box to Zhao Kun. Hey, thank you, boss. Zhao Kun rubbed his hands expectantly and was about to reach out for it. Etc. Ah. Remember to return the box to me. Okay, boss, this is what Zhao Kun is waiting for, the boss's energy cube. At Hangzhou Momo Ocean Park, employees have performed well, and the most direct result is the energy cubes rewarded by the boss. As usual, it is not easy to obtain energy cubes from the boss. A standard ordinary energy cube is sold on the market for 100 elf coins. Generally, 3 energy cubes are 1 serving, and the standard price is 299 elf coins. The quality of the energy cubes in the boss's hands is definitely better than ordinary ones, and the price is also higher. After Zhao Kun left, Lin Hai gently touched the vibrating ring on his ring finger and comforted him in a doting voice. There are more energy cubes. Don't worry, little one. Of course you are indispensable. The elf in the ring heard Lin Hai's words and felt relieved, and the ring stopped shaking. Let's go and meet that elder. Why did she come here and become a volunteer? Come on, everyone. Zhao Kun held the box containing the energy cube firmly in his hand and was in a very good mood. Brother Kun, what is this? Yang Yu asked. Energy cube, Qiu Menjiao and Gao Ya said in unison, and their voices were also very surprised. It's actually an energy cube, Gu Wenli's eyes lit up. As the top food for elves, energy cubes can not only replenish the elves' physical strength, but also improve their physical condition. The effect is very good. Yes, it is an energy cube, and it is of good quality. The price is 3 times higher than the ordinary quality energy cubes on the market. It is awarded to you by the curator of Momo Ocean Park in Hangzhou as a token of appreciation for the little elf. Thanks and rewards for the good results brought about by the live performance. Zhao Kun opened the box, 2 yuan per person, come and get it. Good quality energy cubes. Qiu Menjiao and Gao Ya glanced at each other. They didn't expect it at all, and they themselves felt a little baffled. In just one morning, they actually received an energy cube reward worth 600 elf coins. Great, thank you brother Kun, thank you curator, now my big-tongued body can be strengthened again. Gu Wenli was very excited. Yang Yu received 2 high-quality energy cubes from himself. Looking at the crystal cubes about the size of a fingernail in his hand that exuded energy, it was hard to imagine that such 2 small gadgets were equivalent to Yang Yu's half-month wish. Income. Feed your elves now. This is good food, Zhao Kun grinned. He was also going to feed his elves. However, his elves were not of the water system. According to the Ocean Park management regulations, he had to go to feeding in your own breeder lounge. Yang Yu picked up a small piece of energy cube and shook it in front of the salted fish king. Do you want to eat? Do you want to eat? The salted fish king's eyes were staring straight at the energy cube in Yang Yu's hand, and he even forgot to jump. Gudong. Next to the salted fish king, there was a pink, round head approaching. Slowpoke. Like the salted fish king, it looked directly at Yang Yu's palm. Subconsciously telling it, this thing is much more delicious than flying fish. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 31. You want it, Yang Yu felt happy. Slowpoke would not hide his inner thoughts, and stood up. Its 2 small hands had already been placed on Yang Yu's hand, and he gently pulled it. 2 big eyes stared directly at Yang Yu's palm, looking at the energy cube, and even laughed out of the corner of his mouth. Yeah, Slowpoke opened its mouth and wanted to eat. The salted fish king looked at the slowpoke that was competing for food with a confused look on his face, then turned his head and glanced at Yang Yu. He even began to doubt. After all, I am my master's elf, so what the hell are you, a slowpoke? Yang Yu raised the hand holding the energy cube slightly, and the toes of Slowpoke were even higher. Yang Yu was so shocked that he almost dropped the energy cube in his hand to the ground. Is this the sound of a slowpoke? Okay. Yang Yu first fed the salted fish king a piece of food. The salted fish king immediately shook his tail and closed his mouth with all his strength, fearing that the energy cube would fall out. Here Yang Yu squatted down, stretched out his hand, and handed another energy cube in front of Slowpoke. Slowpoke blinked and felt unbelievable for a moment when it saw Yang Yu actually handing such an attractive energy cube in front of it. Slowpoke stretched out its hand carefully. It was very nervous when it got close to the energy cube, fearing that Yang Yu was teasing it. But when it really touched the small energy cube, it felt like it had found a treasure. Yang Yu, no way, you gave an energy cube to Slowpoke. When Qiu Menjiao was feeding the starfish happily started swimming in the shallow water. When she turned around, she discovered that Yang Yu had actually fed Slowpoke. Doesn't he feed Magikarp? This is a high-quality energy cube that is rarely used by ordinary trainers because the price is 3 times that of ordinary energy cubes. This is an absolute luxury item for elves. Hearing the elegance of Qiu Menjiao's voice and Gu Wenli, both of them looked at Yang Yu in disbelief. To be honest, they both wished they could feed their elf a few more pieces, so they just gave them to Slowpoke. This slow beast is not Yang Yu's elf, why should you feed it to it? If you don't want to feed Magikarp, you might as well give it to us. Regarding Yang Yu's behavior, the 3 people, including Qiu Menjiao, really couldn't understand it. This Slowpoke saved our family, Magikarp Yang Yu stretched out his hand and caressed Slowpoke's round and smooth head affectionately. If Slowpoke hadn't caught Magikarp before, my elf will probably be injured. After all, Magikarp doesn't have the hard shell of a clam for protection, does it? Hearing this, Gu Wengzi choked for a moment when he thought of the difficult operation of spinning his big tongue shell in the air for 5.5 times on the beach. Big Tongue is now tasting the energy supplement brought by good quality energy cubes one by one, slowly repairing the injuries on his body. When the Salted Fish King heard what Yang Yu said, his two long catfish-like beards twitched, as if he agreed very much. One of Yang Yu's two energy cubes was given to the Slowpoke that caught Carp King before. Zhao Kun was surprised for a long time after hearing the words of Chiu Menjiu and the others in the shallow water area. Then, he couldn't help but feel something in his heart. Very deep feeling. It is indeed a little different from other trainers. The effect of the energy cube took effect quickly, and the elves received a good energy supplement, but it would take some time to fully absorb it. Yeah. There is an additional follower behind Yang Yu. Slowpoke was crawling behind him. Although this follower looks quite weak and has no other characteristics besides being cute, but Yang Yu spread his hands. He was also helpless. Such a naturally stupid elf had no way to make him have other thoughts except helplessness. The Salted Fish King blinked. This stupid beast, Wu Cao, this is trying to steal its job. No, I won't allow any other elf to take my job. Then Yang Yu felt like his head was going to explode. This Salted Fish King, couldn't he be eating energy cubes? The energy cubes are too full, and then, become intelligent. Behind Yang Yu, a Slowpoke's belly was pressed against the beach, its four short legs moving shakily. Behind the Slowpoke, there was another little thing. Yes, that's it, Salted Fish King. Slowpoke looks stupid, but at least the crawling posture is quite normal, but the Salty Fish King is different. This guy can jump. This posture, the leap of salted fish. In short, Yang Yu couldn't stand it anymore. Ha 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 ha. Yang Yu, there is something about this Carp King of yours. I have never seen a Carp King jumping on the beach. Gu Wenli laughed and made a pig noise, and the depression of the day was swept away. I felt refreshed instantly. To be honest, Yang Yu has never seen it himself, and this always hurts his heart. The tourists' eyes were sharp. They discovered that there was actually a staff member who was not only following Slowpoke, but also the Magikarp. This was very strange. Why didn't other Slowpoke follow? Did you follow Yang Yu? Slowpoke stood up, touched his head, and then stretched out his hand to pull Yang Yu's trouser legs. Yang Yu turned around. Is Slowpoke calling him? Just when Yang Yu squatted down and looked directly at the Slowpoke, there was another moment. Regenerative power. Slowpoke's hidden traits. There was such a set of information in Yang Yu's mind. What does this mean? Yang Yu was confused. The golden finger he possessed could acquire moves from elves and make other elves learn them. Although it was a bit tricky sometimes. But it's still very useful. What we are given now are not moves, but the characteristics of the elves, or hidden characteristics. Could it be that these days, in addition to teaching elves moves, they can also regenerative power. Slowpoke's hidden traits. Slowpoke's gratitude. Source, Elf Calendar. On June 26, 2019, I got to know Slowpoke at Momo Ocean Park in Hangzhou, a gift from Slowpoke. Description: after burning into the move learning machine, the elf can get a chance to understand the characteristic regeneration power. The remaining number of uses is 1. Note: this feature is a hidden feature and will not cover the original features of the elf. Note: this feature may fail to be understood. Yang Yu looked calmly at the Slowpoke in front of him. In the Slowpoke's eyes, there was only Yang Yu's figure, as if his figure was engraved in his eyes and deep in his heart. It's time to eat. Take a good rest in the lounge at noon and continue working in the afternoon, Zhao Kun's voice came. Yang Yu took back the salted fish king, and when heading to the cafeteria, he looked back at the slowpoke sitting quietly on the beach, watching him leave. Thanks. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 32. P.S. Thank you everyone for recommending votes. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. The first day of volunteering at Ocean Park is over. Yang Yu said goodbye to Brother Kun and was about to leave with King Salted Fish, but found that there was still a slight force pulling him on his heels. It's that slowpoke. Yang Yu, you are very suitable to be a breeder. Zhao Kun couldn't help but sigh in his heart when he saw the slowpoke crawling very slowly but still coming over. There was even a little sourness in his tone. This is Slowpoke's expression of opening his heart to Yang Yu. An elf, in less than a day, showed such intimacy to a stranger and the person he met for the first time. Even Zhao Kun himself could not do it. Even after working here for half a year, there has never been a slowpoke like this one, hugging his trouser legs and reluctant to let him go. See you tomorrow, little guy. Yang Yu nodded on Slowpoke's head. Slowpoke was still on the beach just like that time at noon, stood up, and quietly watched Yang Yu disappear from its sight. The gift of Slowpoke. Yang Yu didn't know what to say in his heart. The hidden characteristics of elves are very rare. 1 in 100, or even 1 in 1,000, or 1 in 1,000. Like this, there is a chance that the elves can understand the hidden characteristics of the golden finger. Damn it, it's a bunker. Yang Yu went to the mall immediately. The elf move learning machines sold in the mall had already been burned. They were all ordinary elf moves, not very powerful, and they were all based on life. For example, singing with ordinary sounds, the cute elf can learn to sing, which can give the owner a happy mood, or provide good sleep quality, such as bubbles. The elf can control the size and frequency of blowing bubbles, so that it can communicate with children. Let's have a good time and no child will resist the temptation of shooting bubbles. There are no blank move learning machines for sale here. To burn moves, you must register with the Elf Alliance. They are only sold in the Elf Alliance's iconic building, the mall staff explained. Burning a blank move learning machine is a difficult task. The carrier of the burning learning machine is the move secret jade mined by the Elf Alliance. The Elf Alliance divides it into 4 levels: ordinary, rare, epic, and legendary based on the quality of the move secret jade. High-level move secret jade can perfectly record low-level moves, but low-level move secret jade may not be able to carry the power of high-level moves. I'm Digigi, is this blank move learning machine so expensive? Yang Yu checked the Dobeo counter of the Elf Alliance. Dobeo only sells ordinary and rare ones. The former is worth 1,499 and the latter is worth 3,299. Can't afford it, can't afford it. Brother, are you back? Yang Xiao in the room immediately opened the door, pleasantly surprised. Yeah, back. Yang Yu took out the elf ball and released the salted fish king. King Carp, have you become fat? Yang Xiao squatted down in surprise and caught King Carp firmly. Salted fish king. This action looks a bit familiar. Brother, what did you feed King Carp? Why did it become so fat in one day? When I saw it in the morning, it wasn't that fat yet. Yang Xiao hugged King Carp and looked up and down. The salted fish king held his breath and didn't dare to move, for fear that if he moved around, it would fall to the ground again. Have you gained weight? Yang Yu was amused, and Yang Xiao could see it. You must be growing, haha. How could you be gaining weight? It's getting heavier, brother. Look, look, my palm can stick to its body, look, look. Yang Yu lowered his head. Hey. You've really gotten fatter, why don't we? Yang Yu raised his eyebrows and said with a hee smile. Kaka kaka, ka. The salted fish king suddenly began to shiver, and he felt panicked. Brother, You're teasing Carp King again. Yang Xiao put King Carp back into the basin, clapped his hands, and sat upright. Brother, how are you doing today, Mr. Carp, in the aquarium? How was the food? It eats better than me. Yang Yu leaned against the wall and shrugged comfortably. You know, it ate an energy cube today. Energy cube? Yang Xiao's eyes immediately shone brightly. Brother, is it the kind of energy cube that costs 100 elf coins for a small piece? More than that, Yang Yu smiled. Good quality energy cubes. Wow, 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 a good quality energy cube. It's almost as much as the food expenses for a semester of my junior high school. It's so expensive. Yang Xiao jumped and hugged a velvet pillow, looking extremely envious. His eyes were about to get misty. Is it okay for all the elves in the aquarium to eat that well? Yang Yu touched his nose. That's not true. Something interesting happened today. Brother, could it be that Magi Carp really used noise in the aquarium? Yang Xiao widened his eyes and glanced at Magi Carp in the basin below. King Carp raised his head and blinked innocently. Why don't I understand what you are talking about? Yang Yugong opened his mouth and nodded. Yang Xiao was surprised and immediately caught the Carp King and looked at it immediately. Salted Fish King? Why come again? Today's incident was quite interesting. King Carp used noise, but other elves started to chase him. Yang Yu touched his nose and laughed. Pursued, Yang Xiao immediately rolled over Carp King's body. Facts have proved that a salted fish is still a salted fish. Is Magi Carp not hurt? No, look at it, it's alive and kicking. Not only is it not injured, it's also grown a lot. Yang Yu took the salted fish king from Yang Xiao's hand, and then turned it over again. Salted fish king? Blame me? And then, because there were a lot of elves using water guns, but they couldn't hit King Magi Carp. In the end, it attracted a lot of tourists, and then, somehow it turned out to be a good thing. Yang Yu said with a smile. Well, the energy cubes are awarded by the curator of Ocean Park, 2 cubes for each person. 2 pieces. King Magi Carp ate 2 pieces. No, Magi Carp was caught by a slowpoke in the end. Otherwise, Magi Carp would have flown to the beach and been injured if he swam too fast. I gave a piece to Slowpoke. Brother, you did a good job. Yang Xiao kept nodding in agreement, and then looked quietly at the Carp King in Yang Yu's hand. A minute passed. Salted Fish King, Kalu Kalu. 2 minutes passed. Salted Fish King, I suddenly started to panic. Brother, why don't we let Magi Carp make a lot of noise tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow? Look, look. Salted Fish King.